And we're back. What's up, everybody? Benja Welldone coming at you live on this beautiful Corona-free day with my new phone. May look a little sharper, but anyway. Today is Friday, January the 29th at 6:16 in the afternoon. How are you doing? So, free will. Here's the thing. How do you know that you got it? Think about it. How do you really know that you have free will unless you test it? Perfect example. Asking a girl out on a date. If you say nothing to a girl, what's going to happen with that girl is equal to you asking her out and her saying no. That's an example of free will. But I think that's too small of an example. Okay? So I'm going to say this. You know how sometimes you get those crazy thoughts about just doing completely random stuff and you don't act on it? But you always tell yourself, I could do something like that. I could do something like that. But could you? It sounds kind of wild, but I think you should actually test that theory out, because I was talking with a buddy of mine on the phone the other day, and I was like, you know what? If you have a credit card, it is possible, if you wanted to. The world gets too crazy. You just say, fuck it. You take a credit card, fly down to your favorite country by first class visa, and then who knows, by this exact minute tomorrow you could be you could be anywhere in any country, sipping champagne on a at some expensive hotel, and you just decided to say fuck it, and you did something and you went all out. You know, like you flew to Cancun, you got a 5-star hotel, and you know what? You just decided to say fuck it to the world. It sounds so wild. It sounds so ridiculous, but I mean, also sounds kind of tempting, you know, to a degree. I don't plan on flying to Cancun or wherever it was my buddy and I were talking about. But it is an interesting concept, because even if you don't have money, if you don't have a job, at any moment, realistically, you could just abandon everything and just fly out to some big, like go to Malaysia and then just don't ever come back. You leave your car, bring your phone. Okay, I'm sure they got service over there. But you could literally just abandon everyone. Would you say it's a jerk move? Yeah, but you know what? Spontaneity. It would be extremely spontaneous. And the crazier thing is, if somebody did do that, I guarantee there'd be people that'd be jealous of you. And then they'd start to think, I wonder if I could do something like that. You don't have to have money. I'm sure credit card companies are going to hate to hear this when I'm saying, but you got a credit card, go for it. I think people make too many bad decisions. Well, I don't want to say bad decisions. I take it back. I think people make too many random decisions as far as purchases with your credit card, when it could be spent on experiences, you know? And I don't mean local. I mean like something so far out of this world, you would have to it would have to be like on a whim or almost like a dare for you to even do it. You know? So that's my 2 cents about free will. I think it should be exercised. I think everyone should be more spontaneous, and you should act on those impulses. I'm not saying the impulses that say don't do that, but are the impulses that say, if I could do that. Those are that's the kind of the impulse that sparks ingenuity and gets like creativity and different ideas. There's something that's really attractive about someone, a girl, for example, that's very spontaneous, because at some point you try to tame, you try to predict, you try to be with someone like that. And it can potentially be exhausting if they're always like, oh, let's go out and let's do this, let's do that. I don't mean that, but I mean having a certain degree of spontaneity. It's kind of like the old adage that people would say, a girl always loves a guy with a little bit of mystery to him. Keep people thinking. Be a little mysterious, you know? Don't reveal everything. I have a few secrets of my own that I don't ever tell anybody. And it's not the point. It's not the point that they're bad or good. I keep certain things private, okay? I kind of like as an ongoing joke, but in all honesty, I like not revealing everything to everyone. Even something very small that's insignificant, okay? But yeah, I think it would be really cool Now, the downside of that is after you have that fuck it moment, you flew first class to whatever, got the penthouse suite, and you lived it up. In that moment, you'd be reaching a moment of like euphoria that you would have potentially not ever experienced before, all by means of a credit card, which you'd have to pay back. And I know it sounds awful, and if you didn't pay it back, it would hit your credit. But for that day, for that moment, the world essentially would be yours. Now imagine if you come back to reality for a second, and instead of acting on that impulse, you maybe just did it once just to know that you could do it. And that one random moment of you being spontaneous would open up a whole doors of you knowing that you have the willpower to be spontaneous. Not just that, the willpower to be responsible, the willpower to say no. This isn't a motivational speech. I'm just being honest with you. It takes a certain spontaneity to break a habit. It does, if you think about it like that. It takes a certain level of spontaneity to get into a good habit. Okay? You don't always have to have an impacting event to have something be altering or changing. You can just say, fuck it. So, this video won't be called fuck it. Pardon my French, keep saying it. It'll just be called willpower. But if you just think for 1 second how cool it would be, you just take your credit card, provided by it's not maxed out, find a destination of your choice, buy a first class ticket, and just saying to yourself, what if? And then if you pull that, you trigger that action, you actually did do it, how cool would that be that 24 hours from now you could be where you wanted, where you thought you could be? And even though you're not essentially paying for it, you brought reality. You brought your imagination to reality. That to me is something special. That would be a moment that you would always remember. You know, I feel like there's too many moments that are remembered for the monotonous reasons. You always know what you're gonna do today, what you're gonna do tomorrow, to a certain degree. There's a certain level of routine. I made one video once that said I'm a creature of routine, and I am. But I'm also a creature of spontaneity, of controlled chaos, of randomness. And that's one characteristic that I think people like the most about me. And I'm being completely honest. I'm not being like braggadocious or I'm not upspeaking myself and trying to make myself sound better than I am. But I'm very responsible. I love my passions. And one thing, comedy, okay? What's so great is when you're on stage, there's always a level of randomness to it. Always a level of like life and spontaneity to it. That's one of the best feelings. You know those feelings that you watch when you watch, if there's like a horror film on, or if you're going down a roller coaster, that feeling is excitement. That's the feeling that you feel when you see a girl that you really like, or a guy maybe that a girl really likes or something. I highly encourage everyone that hears this to do something that gives you that little flutter in your belly, that gets you that little giddiness and whatnot, because that's what life is about. Life is about the responsibilities and the routine to be able to be smart enough to prepare for tomorrow, but to be so smart and so responsible that you can afford to be spontaneous as well. Go on an unplanned vacation to Vegas. Roll up the sleeves and go to the beach. Do something random. You want to be able to look at your life and look at yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Not just with the plans that you've already done, but with the plans that you always wanted to do, and make them happen now. Those are my final thoughts. I hope maybe I broke through to some people, but it's an interesting concept. I got my place. I got my fucking place. And it was well discussed with my buddy on the phone, which I'm keeping to myself. But yeah. So anyway, keep your imaginations alive. Keep those flutters in your belly. Keep those alive too. Okay. Don't let anything settle. and have a great night. I'm Benja Welldone. Check me out. Peace.